Any luck, this should all work. You said 7?
I said 2.
2, okay.
I can't do this class.
Can we use a calculator?
Sure, go for it. Yeah, we're going through a bunch of review off chapter 1. I can't tell you, if you know how to do this, is great. If not, this is why we're setting it up. Okay? A lot of this to start out with today, guys, really is in chapter 1. It's a lot of order of operations, solving what are called literal equations, basic equations, inequalities, absolute values, things like that. What do we got?
24.
We all agree on 24?
Yes.
No.
No.
No, yes.
Yes, I got mine.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, come on. There's too many of you who can't be this loud. So we've done 2. We've got to keep tabs here. What's next? 15.
We're going to call those the hard ones.
Ooh, absolute value inequality. Do you remember absolute value inequality?
A little bit.
A little bit, okay. So absolute value inequality, what happens here is you have 2 inequalities you're going to solve for. What you do is you set it up with one of them being exactly the same as you see, and the one of which where you change this, where you change the sign and the sign. And then you solve them independently. What does absolute value stand for? Perfect. Distance from 0. Absolute value is distance from 0. Can distance ever be negative? No. If you walk backwards, you're still walking the X amount of feet. You're just walking in a different direction. Negative just means you're going in a different direction. So in this case here, you have some really quick problems to solve for. Subtract 1. What happens when you divide by a negative with inequalities? Stuff happens. Correct. What's stuff?
The sign flips.
The sign flips. Very good. Yep. Remember when you divide by or multiply by negatives, your signs flip. Okay. That's a little basic rule that a lot of people tend to forget, but that's what we're here for. Same deal on the other side. Subtract the 1. I will tell you one thing that I know what most of you guys will screw up with problems like this. Not just this inequality style, but really any type of problem. Anytime that the variable has a negative value to it, when you move something away from it, you tend to forget to make sure that it's still negative. A lot of times you guys will just write down, instead of negative 2x, you just x and write 2x. And it's just, it happens. All right, so don't let that happen. Once again, divide out, and you're done. Okay? Not so bad? All right. It's been a while since you've seen stuff like this. That's why I want to do a quick little run through. What's next?
7.
Ooh. Absolute value equal. What do you do? No. That's usually not a good idea. What do you do?
Is that plus or division?
What's that?
Is that a plus?
That's a plus sign.
Okay.
What do you do?
Brute force.
Brute force. Okay. So brute force wise, what do you do to solve an absolute value equation?
Try to find 9 by either going up or down in negatives.
Okay. All right. So that means you're on the right track. So it's going to be 5x plus 11 is 9, or 5x plus 11 is negative 9.
Oh.
And that's where you're heading there with the up or down of 9. But all that means is that the absolute value, the distance from 0, has to wind up equaling 9, which means it could be on either side of the side of 0. And then you just work your way through a 2-step equation. Let's see, subtract 11, what do you get? Negative 2. And then you just get x is negative 2/5. And then do the same thing on the other side. get x is negative 4. Am I sure it does that? It was, right? I thought it was. Huh? I don't know why it's not showing up. What's next? That was what? That was 7?
7, yeah.
9? Solve and graph. Ooh. Do you remember how to graph inequalities? All right. Let me ask you this: how many variables are there?
Uno.
Uno, correcto. So if you have one variable, does that mean it's going to be a linear equation? How many variables do linear equations have? 2. So when you have a single variable equation, or in this case inequality, in order to graph those, it's just a number line. These are just number line problems. Okay, when you see single variable stuff, it's just a number line. So what do you do first?
Add 5.
Add 5. And then what?
Divide by 4.
And then when you go to graph something like this is where most of you guys probably haven't done for, I don't know, a few years. Number line math is the easy math. You draw a line. You put said number in the middle of the line. In relation to that number, where is 0, on the left or the right? It's on the left. So we put 0 on the left and give me any number bigger than 5. 10, 6, 8, whatever. Now, you circle the number and ask yourself, do you fill in the dot?
Yes.
Do you fill it in?
Yes.
Why? Because it equals to. And which way are numbers smaller than 5, left or right?
Left.
And that's single variable number line graphing, which you probably spent weeks on before, but that's all you got to do. I know. And today is just to get us back to math in so many terms. Excuse me. All right, so that was number
9.
That was 9. Now what?
36.
Not an option.
3. 13.
4.
Ooh. Simplify. Simplify. Looks very scary.
Plus sign.
One of the things that most people always forget when you are simplifying this part right here, it's a -3. When you distribute the negative, you got to go to both terms. Usually people forget that the -3 goes to the 2, so you get 4y, 6x minus the 3x plus the 6y. Same deal with factoring, or excuse me, with foiling. When you FOIL stuff out, when you guys multiply things through, you tend to make this stupid mistake. Don't make the stupid mistake. Combine your like terms and you get Is there an equal sign?
This is a number.
Is there anything that says that?
0.
So now it's done. There's no 0, there's no nothing. The minute I do that, then I wind up with a linear equation that I could graph. I don't have that, I just have a algebraic statement. It's fancy stuff. What number was this? This was 4, right?
0, then you solve it.
8?
8, that makes sense.
Solve for y. Get y by itself. Are you done?
Yes.
Can I simplify the x's?
No.
No. You cannot simplify the x's here. Guys, remember, this is a huge thing. This is a giant no-no. You will do this in a couple of months when we do rational expressions and whatnot. Please don't do that. You cannot simplify over addition, or in this case, subtraction. You cannot do that. Those are completely different things. Okay? And that's all you can do with this problem. That's it. Okay. That was 8.
1.
1.
Two plus 7. Oh.
That's a times right there. Don't know why it turned up as a box. Evaluate. Solve usually means what's the missing value. Evaluate just means what's the answer. Solve means you're trying to find something. Find the x, find y. What does that work out to be with an equation? Usually evaluate just means you're plugging and chugging. Yes, sir.
Answer.
What do you got?
-7.
-7. Do we agree?
Yes.
No. Well, you'll have to agree on this one because the answer is -7. Hopefully you got -7. I'm not seeing a lot of erasers going, or a couple of erasers, but you know, that's fine. Remember, this just means order of ops. So that's where you get this. And that's where you get -7. Okay? 11? Shh, ladies and gentlemen, come on. All right, I've given you an example of this already. Now you do it. All right, so hopefully you did this. And I apologize for the less than symbol and the 7 because they all kind of look the same after a while. You had to do those two.
Oh, yeah.
Add 1, divide by 3. Add 1, divide by 3. Did I have to flip the other one?
No.
I divided by 3, I didn't divide by -3. Even though the other side was negative, it was okay. Okay? What's that? Okay.
1 second. There
One.
might be a problem with this.
Did I skip too many steps?
Yeah.
Yeah? glad you're okay with it. So, that was,
That was
11.
12.
so we need 12, okay? Solve for h.
I assume that's pi right there.
That is pi, yes. It was pretty bad when I tried typing this stuff in, and it just didn't look as clean, but whatever. It'll have to do. Getting pi by, or excuse me, getting the h by itself, really, really easy. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, there are too many of you in here to have to talk over. Okay? It's the largest class that I've ever had to have with this, and especially that it being 12th hour means you're extra squirrely. We have a lot, I mean, right today isn't so bad, but just so you know, you're going to have times where we're going to be going through things rather quickly, and if you guys continue to talk a lot, you're going to miss a lot. So I wanted to fair warn you, you've got to try and keep it down. Okay? This is nothing too crazy. This literal equations. You did this last year in geometry. You've done a lot. You've done a lot of this. Just trying to get the cobwebs out. That was 12. So we got 1, 2, we need 3. You could probably just look at that and get this right, I hope. I want to simplify that. And go on your merry way.
Oh, that's a one.
Oh, that's not a Y.
Did you read it wrong?
No, what you just did. For a second, I thought it was 10 Y.
Oh.
I thought that
Yeah.
was 4x. Oops.
Imagine that.
You look really closely.
Okay, I don't like that.
It's just 10.
Imagine that.
Thank you.
Or here it's just there's a Y.
Thank you.
Welcome. Or if we isolate it, you can just look real close at it.
Oh, that's wow.
You guys know you can do stuff like this?
No.
Do you know you can make math bounce?
Why so? Why would you do that?
Why not? Don't you want to bounce that?
Kind of.
Go bounce it
I
then.
don't.
All
Well,
right. 1, 2, 3. 4. We did 3, 4. We need 5. Ooh. Ooh.
So hard.
I know I'm asking a lot of you on the first day of actual remembering how to do math. Tomorrow, tomorrow will be a little bit more. This is just to kind of get brains back in order. Tomorrow we'll talk all about slopes, slope intercept. We'll do writing equations. I'll show you how to do graphs that are like really, really, really easy, called quick graphs. We use that a lot. Wednesday, 2.6 is, I think it's piecewise functions. I don't think you've ever seen that before. So that that'll take about a day to get through that. 2.7, I want to say is something else. And 2.8, I think is absolute value. Like actually we'll graph absolute value stuff. So we do a little bit of that work. It'll be a 3-day weekend. Come back, and I think we'll be pretty close to getting ready to start the actual chapter 3 stuff. So here you got 7x is then what? Negative 28. X is
-4.
3.
So weird. The upper equal mark looks like there's 2 minus signs right next to
You'll get used to my chicken scratch. It's pretty good. There you go. Is that better?
Yeah.
I can zoom in on that for you if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Bounce it,
Yes,
bounce
do
it.
it right.
I
Make
think
it
I would
bounce.
like that.
That was 5. We need 6.
When you stand right there,
There's no, unfortunately there's just no, it's so hard to find a place to stand. I'm not real, I could try writing left-handed, but it's not pretty.
Okay.
Excuse me. I think everybody in here got their, what do you call it, calculator number on the spreadsheet, right? Because I remember, did anybody not get that? Psst. Thank you. All right, so distribute and go. Who is it? Oh no. Oh no! What do you do when you have variables on both sides of the equation? What's that? This is the only time that I do condone bullying, except for slamming doors on people. That's okay too. Pick on the little guy. Usually what happens when you do that, what's that?
We're playing dodgeball?
No, we're not playing, well we can play dodge numbers. Ready, go.
Hey, dodge really well.
Work. So, is it June? I tend to skip steps. I say things out loud a lot of times. I might not show my work. I might do multiple steps at one time. I'm sorry. It happens. If you forget or if you're not sure what something came from or what I did, just go, what did you do?
I have no idea.
Me either. So with any luck then we get what, 3x? And then the other side is going to be a negative 42.
yes. You're subtracting 63.
Wow, my handwriting's awful left-handed, but I'm trying. I'm helping you out.
Oh,
And then what do you do?
Divide.
Divide it and you get negative.
14.
What's that?
Still right-handed.
I'm pretty sure it still is right hand.
Yeah.
You can still write that.
I'm lefty.
Thanks for really making me feel good.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
wait, is
You
that,
slam doors on people. I'm not doing that.
is it a compliment or an insult?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, it's about to be a little bit.
4, 5, 6, 3, 7, 8, 9. I think we have what, 10 to go? Solving graph. Ooh. This, it's been a long time since you've seen this. There's going to be a couple of different ways to do a problem like this. One way is not necessarily any better than another. I would suggest doing it one way versus the other, but I'll explain to you why here in a second. This is called a compound inequality. When your variable is tucked in between two things, it's going to be greater than 3 but less than or equal, or greater than or equal than 3 but less than or equal to 17. It's in between it. What you can do with this when you have the variable stuck in the middle is you can solve everything simultaneously. What would be your first step if I blocked out the 17 part? I'd subtract the 11. Well, what you would do is that you'd have to do that to both parts of this.
Yeah.
And then you get, what, negative 8 less than or equal to 2x less than or equal to 6. And then divide out by 2 and you get your negative 4. Oops. That's a perfectly fine way of doing that. But I will say that a lot of times when people do it that way, you'll move that 11 to just one side and forget to move it to the other. So what I would suggest to do, it takes an extra second or so, but what I would suggest is just to write out two problems. Oops, if I write it down correctly. I would write it out as two separate problems. And the only reason why I would do that is because that way I know for certain I wouldn't forget to move the 11 to both sides. Do you have to? No. Is it a suggestion because it kind of makes your life a little bit easier? Yeah. But either one is fine. Do I need to solve those independently of each other to show you that math works, or can I trust that you remember that?
I think we can.
I hope. Maybe?
Sure.
Cool. Bless you. So that was 10, 11, 12,
13.
13.
13, 14. No, you
Evaluate. It's because the lights are out.
Yeah.
It's tough. Last period of the day.
Alright, see if you have it.
You get negative 17?
Yeah.
I got it.
Yay! Happy math is here again.
Two of my songs are good together.
And last but not least,
It's definitely.
solve for x.
What if I don't want it?
But solve for y then.
Okay.
It's true. One of the things that we did teach you guys a lot when we're working with these types of equations. Did you guys remember what this is called? What this equation is called?
A double equation.
It's not a system of equations. System of equation means you have to have more than one. This is actually a linear equation. The reason that it's linear is because it's got a two variable. And also it's written in what's called standard form. Vaguely remember that? You know, that ax plus by is c, and then you had all those rules about a, b, and c's and all the different things that had to happen. Well, what we taught you guys a while ago was always to put things into slope-intercept form. Remember that? One of the reasons why we told you guys to get things into slope-intercept form is because nowadays, what's the button on the upper left-hand corner?
Y equals.
Y equals. So by getting you guys into the idea that y equals, you were able to graph things via calculator. Well, to be honest with you, this is a much easier way to do so. And I'll show, all right, I've kind of started it, might as well tell you why. When you cross the x-axis, which one's the x-axis, up and down or left and right? Okay. So when you cross the x-axis, what's your value of y? 0, very good. So when you cross the x-axis means your y value is 0, which means that your x-intercept would be when y is 0, correct? So if I, whoa.
What's that? Ooh, YouTube.
That's my lesson stuff from earlier. All right, so if I do this, if I make this work.
Word.
If I cover that, well, squint, it's not there. How do you get x by itself?
Divide by 6.
So what's your x-intercept?
1/6.
1/6. What's your y-intercept? There's your graph. That's why we taught you guys standard form. Graphing in standard form is so much easier than having to do slope-intercept because you don't have to get anything by itself. You can just cover and solve. Cover and solve is what we call quick graphs. I think that's, I want to say that's Thursday. But now Thursday will be easier. Ready? Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. That's weird. It shows up one, not the other.
They're different
It's
lines.
three-dimensional.
No,
Stack order.
order of.
Yeah, stack.
It just sounds cooler.
Also, now I just imagine my heartbeat is just a little Mr. Murphy just continuously smashing my heart.
And 15 is the last one? Oh, we do have 14.
No, we're done.
Oh, we're done. Okay, cool. So what I want you guys to work on, I've got the, I took the chapter 1 test out of the book. This is great. Oh, it's so difficult.
Pretty sure you're not gonna be able to figure it out. I thought I'd give you some of the hard stuff first.
Oh, thank you.
In your eyes. Hey. No, not you. I missed algebra. I didn't write it down.
Let's do this. It's just some quick review problems out of here. Let's start at about number. Let's start this one. Because that's these problems, that chapter 1 thing that I gave you guys. Let's start at about number 12. Let's do 12.
Several actually.
Yeah, I don't count. I just throw piles of papers at you and just take the extra left over. Let's just go ahead and do those. You can get most of it on this little sheet. If you want to write them on the back, you want to put it in a separate sheet. It's just enough to get your brains going back to remembering how to math. That's what I'm looking at today. I'm just trying to see what we remember about how to set some of this stuff up. Pay attention to a couple of the word problem ones. See if you remember how to set some of those things through. We probably won't hit our crazy word problems until the week after, about 2 weeks after Labor Day. So, what is that? Because next week we're looking at 5, 6, 7, 8, and then following start linear equations. Probably right around the 13th or so, 14th or so is when we get to what ends up being probably the very first topic that is solely the honors algebra 2 topics that we get into. It's called linear programming. It's about how you do cost analysis on functions, trying to maximize profit, minimize waste, things like that. It's actually kind of more or less of a real world style problem. But there's just this just happens to be a bunch of reading involved in it that I know how much you guys love it. So, all right. Whatever.
So yes.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not collecting it, but yeah. I want you to get it. I'd like you to make sure you know how to do it.
I see a familiar question from 14.
Do we get points?
I see a few of your questions.
You'll see it again later on. I'm vague as vague can be. Remember, I'm going to do the homework quiz thing. All right.
Wow.
So it's you'll see it, but I just don't know which part. I can pretty much guarantee you probably won't see one on there. It says solve for y like number 23. I'm pretty sure that one won't be on there. That was kind of a.
Wait.
I was kind of. Yes, it's very sarcastic.
Okay, it's memorized now.
Wow. It's a tough crowd.
You start with all the interesting stuff, so now it's just like, what else does he have to offer?
I mean,
Yeah. Oh, 20.
Thanks for paying attention. Good work. You're like, wow. I was also talking about the ease of it. I probably wouldn't put one that easy on there. Just remember, it's in June. Hey, you know what we should do? We should do like a wager, or not a wager, but like a contest. We should have a contest. We should all pick a day that we think we'll see the first snow.
Oh, I was 36.
Did anybody not put in their calculator info? Julie? Yes, ma'am. Oh, do you have yours? Come on up and put it in on the barcode is number. Yes, ma'am.
Oh shoot, I already started doing
Kendall. We have Kendall at all yet or no? She didn't transfer? Okay. Oh, that's right. She.
Just a line through. Straight through.
Wait. Julie Garcia, do you have your calculator? You can put it in for me. Thank you. Yes, sir. Is that what it says to do? So just a simple. I didn't overburden you now, did I? I know you were worried.
Simplify over here.
So I'm not overburden.
What to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Wait, I'm up there. Can I like not get my phone?
number 12. Good job.
Yes. Factor in.
Makes you happy.
I can't see. Whoa.
Do the one with the barcode on the back in case you do the different numbers. Oh.
They're both the same.
Oh, sorry.
Dude. I'm kidding.
Then Sabrina. Is Sabrina here today? Oh, here. No, you took your calculator. Yeah, we'll put yours in. No worries. That's the only thing I was running by you. Sorry. Thank you. I appreciate your help.